Well, I am on my way back to Ohio from the Meadows. Better day today. A little muddy this morning. Washed my face off. I was heading out the gate. And I see a message pop up. Any feedback on Paycheck Princess from Dominic or James? Generally, historically speaking, that means, why did she look that bad? I didn't see the race. I didn't see the qualifier. I was just getting off the track and trying to get ready to go to the Meadows. I look up the line, 7 beat 13. I watched the race, the qualifier. James gets away at the back. You knew he would. She didn't really have a lot of pop on the end of it. You think I'm enthusiastic, right? Dom, the eternal optimist. So I didn't want to call him because I knew it would all be roses. So I called James first. He didn't pick up. He calls me back. Looks like Money Schooled good. But Carol Blue Chip, he didn't go with him, but he heard that he went good also. So that was two good horses. Victory didn't go today because he did a splint crowd the other day, Harry told me. So I was happy with the scores. I said, okay, great. What about the Paycheck Princess filly? He said, yeah, she's, Dominic had her quiet. And she could get hot last year, and she will get hot, but Dom's got an ear hood and earplugs on her, an open bridle, absolutely right in a coma. And you have to understand, I love Dominic to death. We're very, very good friends. We've been friends a very long time. Dominic learned, we both worked in the same place growing up. Jean Beaulieu, great horseman, very conservative horseman, old school horseman. Now the old school mentality would be get the horse ready to go, school him easy, or her in this case, then have one or two qualifiers, absolutely quiet as you can get them around, and then give the driver about 3 starts to really get the horse worked into shape. So, bury it, run it up the wood, get out, finish up, do the same the next time, and then maybe race it that 3rd start and start to get it into shape. That's a hard no for the stable.ca. Not going to happen. Just take those first 3 starts, those 2 qualifiers and the schooler or 2 schoolers, back them all up, and you can school them and you can qualify them. But when they step on that track, they better be ready to go. That's the way it is. And Harry and I have talked about it, and Harry's very good at it now. When's the last time you saw one of Harry Bolton's horses not ready to rock when they went on the track? And maybe he always was. I didn't mean it like that. But there'll be none of the 2 or 3 starts run them up the wood shenanigans. It's not going to fly. So, and I wasn't angry about it. I just know what Dom's like. Quiet all the time until, and at some point you have to put them on their toes. They have to work, right? So I called Dominic. He said, no, she was good. Went a mile in 2 minutes last week schooling her. She was great. Went a mile in 58 today, so she's getting better. I said, Dom, she raced last year 6 times, paced 54, 55. I said, all right, give me your take on it. He said, well, I thought she was good. And we didn't talk about it much, but I did want to qualify her twice. And she was okay this morning. And we'll go back next week. I said, okay. So a few little takeaways from today. One, I don't mind 2 qualifiers. I don't have a problem with it. I don't mind that you didn't say anything. It doesn't matter to me. I'm perfectly fine with that. But what you have to understand is our stable, unlike anybody else's, always has an audience. Always. And 7 beat 13 leads to multiple messages and emails all day that I have to answer to. Videos I have to make. And although I don't mind 7 beat 13, 58, I do need to hear my takeaway, because I will tell you this. She's not racing at Flamborough, and she is absolutely not racing at London. And if she can't race at Mohawk, she's going to come over here and race at the Meadows. She's Pennsylvania bred, or the Northfield, if you have to. She's not racing at those 2 tracks. So next week, when she was on the track, you can close her up, take that hood off, leave your earplugs in if you want. But she is supposed to show us that she's going to race at Mohawk and look good. Because James' first start, he's going to drive her super conservative anyway. All that I just said is wonderful, and I just like to wring his neck sometimes, but James is going to run them up the wood their first start, and he's going to put them in a spot to do good if they can wiggle their way through. That's just James. It's got to the point where I'm James's older brother, but he's also leading driver in Canada. You gotta stay in my lane too. I appreciate his feedback, and he understands where I come from. James and I have butted heads many times about training and qualifiers and racing. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here. So when it comes to Paycheck Princess, go out, qualifier in 56 next week. Allow James to race her. And listen, we are in a position right now where we're all going to be upset because that's the nature of the beast. But if they're not good enough, they're not good enough. I believe Paycheck Princess is. She fooled Scott Zera in the first qualifier. He said she was a top filly, really nice filly. I think he got lots under the hood. Whatever it was. Tim Tetrick drove her twice and picked over a horse to drive her the second time. So she's got speed. There's no denying that. You have to have that mental fortitude. You have to be strong, and you have to want it better than the other 8 or 9 in the race, and that is that. And if you don't, fine. We can find a spot where speed will do. No problem whatsoever. I can find a spot for you. But I need to know. And we're not going to play the guessing game for 2 or 3 starts. So, next week, I expect a little more pop in the qualifier. Anyway, it's all born from a good place. You know, it's just you have to understand, and I said this to James, Dominic worked for Sean, and then had his own horses with his partners that he bred, broke, trained down, and raced. So he's always in protective mode. And it's not that we're not, but these horses are here to race, right? They're athletes. And that's the thing. And that's where our 2 paths are a little bit different, but we all want to get to the same place in the end. So when it comes to Paycheck Princess, plenty of time spoke about her right now. I was a little disappointed in her qualifier today, but it was qualifier 1 of 2. I could see what was going on, the open brattle, the hood. I knew what was underneath the hood. Earplugs underneath there. She was very, very quiet today. And you don't want to spark her up. Don't think that you need to go to the other side of that coin, because a agitated Paycheck Princess, she can pull. So somewhere between that today, in the middle there, is where we want to see our girl next week. So that was my take, James's take, Dominic's take on Paycheck Princess today. Schoolers, as I said, went well that I've heard. I haven't talked to Harry yet, but I have talked to James. He said money was very, very good, and he thought that Vaquero Blue Chip went well. He was happy across the board, I believe. What else? Then we get to the Meadows. Track was wet. I was worried it was hard as a rock, and if you want to know how the track is, just ask Kemp. He'll tell you right away. He seemed okay. He wasn't agitated like he was last week. He was coming in good, fresh, feeling good. I didn't know how the race would get away, because the 2 horse doesn't leave that well. He's the one to beat, bars open. He doesn't leave that well. The rail horse, Ronnie's going to push through a little bit with Troyson. And then you have the 8 horse with Jeremy Inhofe, who can leave pretty good. And of course, you're in a condition claim where you have a host of others that are going to take a run at you leaving the gate. So sometimes you just overthink it too much. Something I'm not known for doing all the time. But when it comes to Kemp, I know what he can do. I know what he can overcome. I know what he can't do. I was making fun of Ronnie after the race. He won the race. He goes, I just thought you would have quarter poled him to the front, because he knows he's no good in the front. I said, do you see? That horse can literally win from anywhere on the planet except the front end. The only thing you can't do is put him on the front. So I get away third, and I knew I didn't want to be quarter poling, but if Lems was coming, I was keeping a peek over my shoulder. If Lems was coming at the quarter pole, I was going to pop out, remove to the front, let Lems clear to the front, Chris go, and then sit on his back. That was the plan. He wasn't coming. Ronnie wasn't coming. So now I know I'm going to be first over. The horse in the front doesn't look that good, and he's got stretched all the way to the 3/8 pole. He's got to be out of soap. You get over the half pretty good, like 57 seconds, 57 and 1. I hear them start up in behind me. Ronnie knows the score. He knows I'm coming with him, but he doesn't know how fast. So we come out of the 3 hole, and I let Kemp rock. clear to the front. I just give him a little breather getting into the last turn. Now, you can't let him go to sleep, right? And that's just Kevin. So around the last turn, I kick the earplugs out and let him rock. You might beat me, but you're going to have to come and do it. And Ronnie goes on the run. Chris goes on the run. I look over my shoulder. I keep him going down the lane just so he doesn't throw it in reverse and coast to the wire. He's just such a nice horse to drive. I wish that was an Elmer's at 20. Racing there forever. He's just such a really nice horse to drive. So we got 2 more wins in that class. They've opened it at the Elmer's at 12. So a great class for us to be in. I suspect what's going to happen is prepare to stop to slow traffic. Now, I don't like that. Why didn't Waze tell me that? I could have gone on the other road. Well, it's done now. So I go at the track next with Patrick the Piranha. And I can tell, I always tell you guys, I can tell when Patrick's no good. When you go out on the track and he's throwing his head and almost ripping the lines out of your hands and leaping and being stupid, that's when he's good. That's when he's real good. When he goes out on the track and he doesn't throw his head, he's quiet. And he's behaved, very polite. Not on his game. So we get out there, he's not throwing his head, he's not acting up, he's not goofing off, he's not doing anything wrong. And I'm like, whatever. What are you going to do? We get in behind the gate, he was very polite coming off the gate. Now I end up third over. The favorite, the Lightning horse, makes front. The second favorite's in the 2-hole. The race is already written. Maybe Aaron stretches Dave out and you can sneak up and get a second if he's good. Doesn't feel that good. But now I go to move him, come into the 5/8. The half, he sparks up. Feels sharp. It's up on a helmet, and I'm thinking, he's good, but that's just class. He just wasn't himself today. Finished up a little bit flat, scoped him after. Just a couple of drops of mucus, maybe 1 drop of blood. But he did have a redness in his palate, like he'd flipped his palate. Now, he didn't flip it in the race. Maybe he did it in the warm-up. I don't know, maybe he did it at some point this week. Who knows? And that may not have just been it. It may have just been a little bit of redness. We saw the same thing today with Memory and Imagination. When he pulled up, we scoped him, a little bit of redness also. Not a big deal. But it's there. It happens. It's constricted at some point, I guess is the easiest way to put it. So just not a great week. I don't think anything I just told you would equal his flat race. Nah. I think those were components of it, but I think if you draw his blood, maybe his liver was high, maybe his white count was a little high. Something was going on with Patrick today. Sound-wise, he was good. Not even on that right line that bad. Pacing well. I wasn't disappointed with him mechanically, but it didn't show up on the track. He was a little bit flat. So we'll call it a flat week for Patrick. A great week for Kemp again. Another good day for him. We don't have anything tonight, do we? It's Friday night. I don't think we have anything tonight. Good. Anyway, tomorrow we have all the babies training. Today we had all the 3-year-olds. Very happy with the way they trained. Got a real good look under the hood of everybody. A couple of horses we'll put in the race bike on Tuesday that didn't go in the race bike today, but for the horses I did put in the race bike, happy with what I saw today. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. 1 for 2. The other horse, like I said, the takeaway from Patrick was he's a good horse. Just didn't have a great day. Nothing found mechanically. I think you'll probably find something in the blood, but just one of those things that happens. I'm a little more angry at this traffic right now. I looked on Waze and it said to go here rather than get off at the airport. Anyway, I got to take this, so I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.